4 minutes. Anyway, grab your water bottle, grab your mat, grab whatever is right and good for you this morning. All right, well, let's get going. I'll invite you to find the top of your mat, finding your feet, from your feet, finding your legs, from your legs, finding your spine. I'll invite you to relax your shoulders. I'll invite you to find a press of your palms towards your heart, a light press of your thumb against your sternum as we line up each finger. A slight tuck of the chin as we start to bring ourselves to the present, just focusing on our breath as it flows in and out. Arriving here on our yoga mats, ready for a morning yoga practice. From this place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath as you find a long, slow inhalation, matched by a long, slow exhalation. As you breathe in, finding a full body breath, bringing the air to the top of the chest, the base of the belly, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your body. And as you breathe out, I'll encourage you to squeeze the low belly in and up towards the heart, to squeeze a little more air out, also providing structural support for our low back in any of these shapes and any of these sequences. To this deeper, fuller breath, moving towards the Ujjayi or ocean breath, a slight constriction of the base of the throat, adding a slight sound and feel to your breath. And as we flow through our practice, letting the sound and feel of our breath be a focus for your practice, often compared to the sounds of the waves of the ocean as the waves wash in and as the waves wash out. To this Ujjayi breath, finding Jiva Bandha, tip of the tongue of the hard palate just behind the teeth, trying to keep that connection throughout the practice, keeping our jaws relaxed and connecting front and back planes of our bodies. And finally, with your lips closed, adding a slight smile to your face, opening up the front of your throat so your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh, and revitalize. Keeping all this, hands by our side. Warming up our shoulders. I'll invite you to inhale the arms up overhead. Exhaling arms down. 2 more times like this. Inhaling arms up. Exhaling arms down. Inhaling arms up. Exhaling arms down. Adding a forward fold. Inhaling arms up. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back as we lift chin and tail. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling right into breath up, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. 2 more times like this. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling right into breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. 1 more to go. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling right into breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. So namaskar. Suggest no vinyasa this first time. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out, folding as we ground down through the hands, stepping it back to down dog. Long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. And if you've been practicing with me a while, you always know vinyasa is an option, but in the mornings usually I like to skip it that first time, just as I start to connect with my body, seeing how my body feels in down dog. I might walk it side to side, stretching it out. And then if I chose to add movement to my down dog, I'll come back to stillness, long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. And then on the tail end of our breath, bending the knees ever so slightly, lifting the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then mindfully making our way front. Take a breath to find length as we lift chin and tail. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling right in the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. Second one, just like the first, this time I will include vinyasa. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out, either finding your down dog or elbows stay soft as we find yoga push-up, with or without the knees, exhaling down. Inhaling into cobra, the hips stay down, or pulling into an up dog as I lift the hips up. And then grounding on down, stretching back to down dog, and holding for 4 or 5 breaths. Again, as we hold down dog, either holding the pose in stillness, just seeing what arises, or adding a walking of the dog side to side as you bend one leg deeply, grounding down to the opposite heel. Finding that same stretch on the second side. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail end of our breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as I lift the tailbone a little bit higher. And then mindfully making our way to the front of the mat. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, folding. Inhaling, riding the breath up, hands overhead pose. Exhaling, standing tall. Let's do one more. We'll add a movement option into the mix. Inhaling into hands overhead pose. On the exhale, finding a forward fold. Take a breath to find length, and then breathing out back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or skipping that and stretching straight back. Those of you in down dog or any other shape, feel free to stay right there. From down dog, I'll invite you to inhale forward to plank pose, and on the exhale back to down dog. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, drawing it back. Inhaling forward and holding. Exhaling. Inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. Inhale and hold. And on that next exhale, lifting hips high and holding for another breath or so. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of the mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. Exhaling, folding. Inhaling, hands overhead pose. Exhaling, standing tall. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart, either keeping a light press to the palms as your weight gathers in your feet, or adding an isometric engagement as we press the palms together, elbows wide, shoulders engaged. I'll invite you to add a tuck of the tail and a tuck of the chin as we connect with the strength of our center. And then hands by our side. Surya Namaskar B, our second warm-up exercise, Sun Salutation B. It starts with a chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Adding an extra breath, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, a little half back bend at the top, open heart, open throat. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length, and then breathing out, back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Welcome everyone, feeling free to comment. Using a different video setup this morning, so any comments would be appreciated as to how the video looks. Demoing from down dog, flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Finding a three-legged dog, right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Now looking between the hands, bringing your right foot on through, spinning the back heel down. Hands can always find the hips as we find our balance. And then arms up and over the head for warrior one. And then on the exhale, spinning the palms out, finding low lunge, and from low lunge, back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. From down dog, we'll find our second side. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Finding a three-legged dog, left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Looking between the hands, bringing that left foot on through, spinning the back heel down. Again, hands can always find the hips as you find your balance. And then arms up and over the head for warrior one. And then on your next exhale, back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. And holding that for 4 or 5 breaths. As we hold down dog, I'll invite you to bring your attention to the base of your throat. From that place, listening and feeling as your Ujjayi breath flows in and as your Ujjayi breath flows out. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail end of your breath, looking between your hands and stepping or taking a jump front. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding. On the inhale, back to our chair pose. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, open heart, open throat. On the exhale, neutral spine. Let's do one more Surya Namaskar B. We'll add a hip opening sequence into the mix. Inhaling into our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out, back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through chaturanga, inhaling into back bend, and then stretching back. Or skipping all that, and just stretching back. From down dog, flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Finding a three-legged dog, right leg high to the sky. High on the left toes. Without overly disturbing the shoulders, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that right hip. And then looking between the hands, bringing the right foot on through, spinning the back heel down, finding your warrior one, arms up and over the head. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. Again, finding your flow, following your breath. From down dog, second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Without overly disturbing the shoulders, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that top leg, opening up that hip. And then sweeping that left foot on through, spinning the back heel down as we find our warrior one, arms up and over the head. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge, and then back to down dog, as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Follow your flow, follow your breath. As always, feeling free to stay wherever you are. And it's the nice thing about a home practice is you do have that freedom. From down dog, long smooth breath in, long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step, or take a jump to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, fold it. On the inhale, we'll come back to our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. I'll invite you to bring hands to heart, either keeping that light press of the palms as your weight gathers in your feet, or adding that isometric engagement as we press the palms together. A slight tuck of the chin, a tuck of the tail as we find strength in our center. And then hands by our side. From here, let's bring hands on hips as we step or jump our feet hip width apart. One of my favorite exercises here. On the inhale, we bring the arms out to the side. On the exhale, bending the knees as we cross the hands in front. You might give your wrists a little bit of a flick. And switching the cross. And let's do 6 of these. Halfway done. Last 2. One more each side. And then back up. And hands by our side. Let's bring hands on hips as we step our left foot back. I'll go sideways here as we find our warrior one prep. We want to line up the heels. We want to lengthen the stance that works for our legs this morning. I usually go a little short, so I invite myself to go a little bit longer. I want to keep the knee over the heel, center of the knee, in line with that line between the second and third toe. I want to steer the hips front. They're not going to square front. Back hip steers front, back front hip squares back. From that place, I can bring hands on shoulders. I can certainly square those shoulders front as I twist the torso. Relaxing the shoulders. Now finding a clasp of the fingers behind the head, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat, and then stretching those hands high to the sky. With the breath, straightening the front leg without locking the knee, palms face back as I gather up the energy. On the exhale, finding this letter W, or cactus shape to my arms. Let's do it a few times. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. A couple more to go. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, last one here. Breathing out, finding this letter W shape and holding this for a couple of breaths. As we hold the stretch, the elbows move back, the hands come with, and I'll invite you to wiggle your fingers, keeping our fingers supple. Now turning warrior one into warrior two as hands find the heart. We open up the hips. You might kick the back foot in just a tad for heel to arch alignment. And then finding one long arm looking out over those front fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. From here, painting rainbows, palm faces back, straightening front leg without locking the knee, inhaling, exhaling, warrior two. Let's do that a few times. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. 3 more to go. Breathing in, breathing out. Last 2, breathing in, breathing out. Last 1, breathing in, breathing out, warrior 2. Now transitioning to the triangle, thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. As we deepen that crease, we lengthen those ribs. I'm a little teacup, short and stout. And then we ground that bottom hand down in an appropriate place. We can set that top shoulder. We can stretch that hand high to the sky, and picking an eye focus or drishti that works for your balance and breath this morning, either down to the ground, off to the side, or up to the sky, with that mixture of effort and ease. With every breath in, drawing energy into your Dantian, 3 fingers below the navel. Every time you breathe out, sending that energy out through 2 arms, 2 legs, both ends of the spine, as you make yourselves bigger in space from the inside out. From here, let's explore the lateral top line. As we exhale this top hand front, turning our heart to the floor. On the inhale, lifting hand high as we spin heart to sky. And let's do that a few times. Exhaling and inhaling. Exhaling and inhaling. Halfway done. Exhaling and inhaling. Last 2. Exhaling and inhaling. Last 1. Exhaling and holding as we push into that back foot, long through the leg, the torso, the arm, the fingers. Now the bottom hand joins. We take twist out of torso, pure side motion. We breathe 2 hands up and exhale it over. 2 hands up, exhale it over, up and over. We got 3 more to go. Breathing it up, exhale it over, breathing it up. Exhale it over. Last 1 here. Breathing it up. Exhale it over and hold as we retreat. Tell everybody to wiggle those fingers, keeping those hands supple. And then either back to the triangle or playing with your half moon as hand finds the hip. We soften the front knee to take a big step in. I'll suggest right hand well off to the right, setting our base. So we've got 2 feet down and 1 hand down. From this place, we'll shift weight into front foot and front hand. As we lift that back leg, we can set the top shoulder. We can stretch hand high, either looking down to the ground, off to the side, or up to the sky, with that mixture of effort and ease. Again, as we hold the half moon with every breath in, finding your center of balance, that Dantian, 3 fingers below the navel. With every breath out, getting yourselves bigger in space without losing your balance. Now the dismount on this one, lots of ways to do it. I'm going to suggest steady and controlled. We can bring top hand to hip. We can bend the standing leg. 2 feet find the floor. So now we've got 2 feet and 1 hand still down. Now we shift weight into 2 feet as we lift that hand, coming back to our warrior 2 shape. And then a big windmill of the arms, front hand moves back hand swims front. We spin back, heel up for low lunge, and from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Deep, full breaths. And again, feeling free to choose any other shape that your body calls for. Child's pose is a nice one. All 4s, always respecting that balance between your effort and your ease. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step or take a jump front. Take a breath, define length. Exhaling, folding. On the inhale, back to our chair pose, knees over toes, hands over head. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. I'll invite you to bring hands to heart, finding your breath. Either keeping that light press of the palms or adding that isometric engagement. And then hands by our side. So we still have a second side to do. Before we get there, let's do another exercise with breath and movement. These first 2 breath and movement exercises from the top of the mat are inspired by Twyla Tharp, which is a wonderful, wonderful book. Keep it moving. Highly recommend it now that libraries are starting to open. You get it from your local library. From here, let's step or jump our feet hip width apart. From here on the inhale, we're going to bring the hands out to one side. On the exhale, we bend the knees, passing the hands through center. And again, you might give your wrist a little bit of a flick. And then finding the second side. And just back and forth. Inhale and exhale. And let's do 6 of these. That was 3. Here comes 3.5. And here's 4. 2 more each way. 1 more each side. and then back to center, and hands by our side. From here, let's bring hands on hips, and we'll step our right foot back. I'll go sideways here for our Warrior One prep, lining up the heels, finding a length of stance appropriate for your legs this morning. Not too much, not too little. We can steer the hips front, back hip steers front hip steers back. They're not going to find a perfect line, but you want to feel that energetic action. From here, hands on our shoulders, steering the torso and relaxing the shoulders. Now switching the clasp of the fingers. We'll walk the fingers one over, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat, fourth and fifth chakra, and then stretching those hands high to the sky. And then with the breath, breathing in as we gather up the energy, on the exhale as we offer it out. And let's do that a few times. Breathing in and breathing out. You might imagine you're pulling silk threads and you don't want to break those threads. Inhale and exhale. Last two here. Breathing in, breathing out. Last one, breathing in, breathing out. I'll invite you to hold this shape. Great takeaway. Doesn't have to be on a yoga mat. As we open up heart and throat, the elbows move back, the hands come with. We can wiggle those fingers. And then turning Warrior One into Warrior Two as hands find the heart. We open up the hips. We might kick the back foot in just a tad. And then finding our Warrior Two, looking out over those front fingers with a steady yet relaxed gaze. From here, painting rainbows. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last two. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last one. Breathing in. Breathing out. Warrior Two. Now transitioning to Trikonasana, the triangle. Thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. Deepening that crease, lengthening those ribs. I always think of that children's song, I'm a little teacup short and stout. Here's my handle, here's my spout. Now setting up the triangle. Stretching hand high, looking down off to the side or up to the sky. And again, with every breath in, finding your center of balance. With every breath out from that central place, getting bigger in space from the inside out. Now in our triangle, I'll invite you to explore your lateral top line. As we exhale that top hand front, turning our heart to the floor. Inhaling, lifting hand high as we spin heart to sky. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale. 3 more to go. Exhale. And inhale. Last 2. Exhale. And inhale. Last one. We'll hold. We push into that back foot. We stretch, stretch, stretch. Now bottom hand joins, pure side motion. We breathe 2 hands up. And exhale it over. 2 hands up. Exhale it over. 2 hands up. Exhale it over. Halfway down, breathing it up. Exhale it over. Last 2, breathing it up. Exhale it over. Last 1, breathing it up. Exhale it over and hold as we reach, reach, reach. And now, either back to the triangle or the triangle on one foot as we find our half moon. Again, very deliberate here, no need to rush. Hand finds the hip. We step the back foot in. Left hand off to the left. So keep 2 feet down. We set the hand. Now we shift the weight as we lift back foot. Setting the shoulder, stretching hand high, either looking down off to the side or up to the sky with that mixture of effort and ease. As we hold the half moon, finding your center of balance as you breathe in, as your diaphragm stretches down towards the navel, filling up those lungs. And as the diaphragm domes up towards the heart, compressing those lungs to squeeze the air out, sending the energy out into the universe as we connect with everything that's bigger than we are. Now the dismount on the half moon, again, there's no rush at all here. So take your time. You want to establish your foundation before you start to change that foundation. So we're up here on a hand and a foot. Top hand finds the hip. We bend the standing leg. Now keep that hand down. 2 feet find the floor. Now we shift the weight back into the feet as we find our warrior 2. And that big windmill of the arms, front arm moves back, back arm moves front. As we spin back, heel up, and then back to down dog, as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Again, take your time, follow your flow, follow your breath. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding. On the inhale, we'll come back to our chair pose. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. I'll invite you to bring hands to heart. A light press of the thumb against the sternum. Light press of the palms as weight gathers in your feet. Or choosing to add that isometric engagement as we find strength in our center. And hands by our side. From here, let's step or jump our feet hip width apart. Let's bring hands to the back of our hips, the fingers face down, and just circling our hips for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's take those hip circles the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now coming center, let's pretend we have an extra set of hands. Extra set of hands keeps our hips stable. True hands find our shoulders, and we'll keep the hips stable as we circle our shoulders for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now taking it the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and back to center. From here, arms in the air like either do or don't care, your choice. We'll take hips one way, shoulders move the others for the Burning Man Asana for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll take it the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and back to center, and hands by our side. From here, I'll invite you to make 2 fists with the hands. Let's bring the fists to the Dantian, 3 fingers below the navel. On the inhale, we'll trace a line from that place through the navel, through the heart. We'll spin the palms out. We'll lift the head. As we tilt the head back, we'll exhale out through the mouth. So we bring those fists just below the navel, inhaling through the nose. And we'll do 6 of these. Two more to go. Breathing in. And last one. Breathing in. And then hands by our side. From here, let's soften the knees and lean a little bit forward as we bring our hands under our shoulders. And let's just work some asymmetrical shoulder circles. So you circle one shoulder front and then the other, warming up the ancillary muscles of respiration, keeping the breath free and easy. And one more this way. And we'll take it the other way. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Feels so good. And then back to center. This reminds me of a kindergarten game, but feel free to kindergarten along with me as we bring ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, ears, shoulders, hips, over heels. From here, let's play with a tree pose. As we bring hands to hips, we shift weight onto the right foot. I'll go backwards here just so you can see my feet a little bit better. And we find a kickstand tree as we park. You have a cylinder, that always helps with the balance. You can play without a cylinder because many of you may not have the cylinder. We can either park the heel on top of the ankle knob. We can bring the heel or the sole of the foot onto the calf. Some of y'all might want to reach down, and you're going to bring the foot onto the thigh. And you want everything to line up, so everything in one line there. Hands can come to the hips and stay right there. We can bring hands to hard. Hard hands can become high hands. If you're feeling a little wobbly here, I'll invite you to wiggle those fingers as we stabilize the shape with motion at the periphery. High hands come back to the heart. Hard hands become hip hands. We can swing this left thigh front. Releasing the thigh, the toe points down, we can lean a little bit forward. Feeling free to stay here or going long through the leg with a soft point to the toe. Lifting that leg just a little higher. And if you have to tap down, no big deal. We'll sweep the foot through. Again, let me go sideways here as we come back to our Warrior One prep. Finding a length of stance that works for your body this morning. Squaring the torso, relaxing the shoulders. Finding that clasp of the fingers behind the head, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat. And then finding a tray in front. From here, gathering energy into our center balance, our Dantian, without locking the knee. Inhaling, coming back to, or exhaling, coming back to that shape. So breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Let's do 3 more. Breathing in, breathing out. Last 2, breathing in, breathing out. Last 1, breathing in, breathing out and holding. Big breath into your heart again. This is a great takeaway. You can do this all day long. You all stay in the shape, but many of us now are on computers, we're on Zoom calls, we're on our phones. So anything to reopen up 4th and 5th chakra, heart chakra community, throat chakra communication. From here, we're going to bring hand to the hip of the front leg. So my right leg is front, right hand finds right hip. We're going to find length on the far side, reaching up. We're moving towards revolved extended side angle, exhaling, fold up, reaching up. And then reaching up, and then reaching out, halfway done, reaching up, and reaching out. Last 2, breathing in, breathing out. Last 1, breathing in, and then reach. We can start the twist with the wrist. We can stay right there. We can slide to the elbow, either keeping hand on hip or finding your prayer hands, either keeping your gaze down, off to the side, or up past that top elbow with that mixture of effort and ease. We're twisted, we're balancing, still finding that deep, full body breath. Long, smooth breaths in, long, smooth breaths out. And you might conceive of the twist as starting from that center of balance, or at least emanating out from that place. Now coming out of the twist easily as we frame our front foot with both hands. Now we're going to take a big step in here as we line up the heels, big angle on the back foot, and then straightening that front leg as we relax the neck and heavy the head. The shoulders are going to draw up and back towards the hips for Parsvottanasana, or pyramid pose. In our Parsvottanasana, or pyramid pose, I'll invite you to invite more pranama, life force, into your hips. So right now our hips are squared towards that front foot, pretty much, Warrior One hips. We're going to swing the hips out to the side, almost like your hips are a swinging door as we find Warrior Two hips. So y'all are still in the shape, but I'm going to come up just a little bit to demo. So hip square front, and then go out to the side. We go front and side. I'm going to go back into the shape here. Front and side, front and side. Couple more here. Front and then side. Last one, I'm going to square those hips front, and now moving towards the revolved triangle. I bring my right hand to the sacrum, the palm faces up as if I'm holding water. I walk the left hand in, finding a place for you to work. So some of y'all who know the shape might cross the wrist over the ankle. Others of us, because it's early, might just stay right here. Big toe side. Keeping the hips relatively level, we don't want to spill that water as we turn our heart towards a straight front leg. We can set that top shoulder. We can stretch that hand high, either looking down to the ground, off to the side, or up to the sky with that steady yet relaxed gaze. This is another pose. You might bring your mind to that place 3 fingers below the navel. And it's like the whole body is twisting around a glowing ball of energy in that place. And as always, long, smooth breaths in. Long, smooth breaths out. In our revolved triangle, coming out easily as we frame front foot with both hands. We can take a big step back as we find our low lunge, and from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Again, let your breath, let your body make that call. Great thing about the yoga practice is not just the movement, the shapes, the breath, but also that self-connection, which is always there, but just wiping away, say, the mist on the mirror that keeps us from seeing ourselves accurately in terms of even very quotidian things like my shoulders, my hips, my knees. How do they feel this morning? And then maybe get to that next level. Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I anxious? Am I this? Am I that? Maybe it's all at once and you're not even sure exactly what it is. And the yoga practice helps shine that mirror, removing that mist. From our down dog shape, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. Let's mix it up a little bit here. As we fold and hold, I'll invite you to toe heel the feet out as we catch opposite elbows, and then gently swinging ourselves from side to side. Now switching the cross of the elbows, keep swinging side to side. And then back to center. I'll invite you to bring your hands onto your thighs. The chin is tucked for the assisted roll up. Lifting the chin tall through the crown. And again, we can do that. I think of it as a fun exercise. Ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Ears, shoulders, hips over heels. From here, let's bring hands to hips. And let's step outer shoulder width apart. From here, let's soften the knees and make 2 fists with the hands. We can draw those fists in by our sides. It's called punching out with angry eyes. So we're going to twist it the waist. We'll punch out with the left as we squeeze. You might give that fist a little bit of a glare. And then other side. Inhaling through center and exhale. And let's do 6. Here's 3. Couple more each way. Last one, let's hold. As we squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And again, giving that fist a little bit of a glare. That's your first line of defense. Anytime someone bothers you, just give them that look. My mom used to have that look. And then other side, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then back to center, releasing that fist. Hands by our side. And let's play the piano here. As we go from side to side. Some of you all might be real piano players. Others of us just play air piano here. Keeping our fingers supple. And then back to center and hands down. Let's do one more exercise before we move towards that tree on our second side here. As we inhale, the shoulders up to the ears. And then on the exhale, just let them drop. You might let that exhale spill out through the mouth. So inhale up. Exhale, just let it drop. Now let's do 6. A couple more to go. Last one. And then keeping those shoulders parked on rib shelf, not through effort, but just through release. From here, let's step it in a little bit closer. So say inner hip width apart. And we'll move towards that tree pose on our second side. Let me go backwards here so you all can see my feet. Hands find the hips. We can find our kickstand tree as we park that heel on top of the ankle knob. We might lift it up to find our calf tree. Or maybe we reach down and find our thigh tree. And you really want to line everything up so the heel faces straight up, the toes face down. You might park the toes on that little curvature where the knee begins. From here we can bring hands to heart. From here we can stretch hands high. And again, if you feel wobbly or tippy, just wiggling those fingers. Try to keep those shoulders parked on rib shelf. They tend to like to creep up towards the ears. A little smile on your face, maybe a big smile. And then high hands become heart hands. Heart hands become hip hands. We can swing this right thigh front. We can release the thigh, the toes point down. We can lean a little bit forward and then lengthen the leg. Long smooth breaths in, long smooth breaths out. Lifting that leg a little higher. And feel free to tap down here as we swing the leg back, coming back to our Warrior One prep, lining up the heels. One more time this morning, steering our hips. I'm not going to get all the way there, but back hip moves front hip moves back. Hands find the shoulders. One more time, just relaxing those shoulders as we square the torso front. And then finding that odd clasp, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat, and then finding that tray in front. Breathing in as we gather in the energy. On the exhale as we offer it out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Halfway down here. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out and holding. And again, this is a great takeaway. Just feel the stretch. Now we'll move towards revolved extended side angle, second side. Left hand to the front leg, catches the hip. We're going to find length on the far side, reaching up and then reaching out. And let's do 6 of these. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. 3 more to go. Breathing in, breathing out. Again, you might think about pulling silk threads. We don't want to pull. We don't want to break those threads. Exhaling. Last 1. Breathing in, and then reach. We can start the twist with the wrist, sliding to the elbow, either keeping hand on hip or finding prayer hands, either looking down off to the side or up past that top elbow with that mixture of effort and ease. So again, we're twisted, we're balancing, still finding a deep full body breath, and you might think about that glowing ball of energy, 3 fingers below the navel, and the whole body is rotating around that glowing ball of energy. Now coming out of revolved extended side angle easily as we come out of the twist, framing front foot with both hands. We can take a big step in, big angle of the back foot, about 60 degrees, as we straighten that front leg without locking the knee. And then pouring ourselves out over that leg, relaxed neck, heavy head, as we draw the shoulders up and back towards the hips. And then, whoops. Uh-oh. I'm not sure what's going on. Should I start another video? In live video.